And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the players get themselves back in their seats. It's always great. I don't know about you, Rich, but I always love going out. Right next to where we cast is where the players congregate in between games. It's like the green room. And basically, it's great to just go out and have a chat with everyone. Like, obviously, you get the opinions. Like, obviously, we didn't follow too much of TSM because it was the chaos. And so I was explaining to Gem-T, I was like, oh, yeah, well, you were fighting TSM and you went third-partied. The 3T compound over here was getting crashed by 5 different teams, and he was just like, oh, really? Because obviously, you know, they only see the player's perspective, so they don't really understand what's been happening.
Kind of same with Crimson. We were saying on Crimson being the coach of RAGEREDGE. When you see 2 compounds that are contested by like 4 teams, it's just one of those circles where it's a bit of a cluster. You know, there's only one available spot that you have to go to, and sometimes you have to take those chances. You need to crack on. Work for your money at the end of the day. If it is just a run-and-gun breach, sometimes drastic measures call for drastic actions, and it is one of those things, you know, that you have to do. And so 6 years we were getting a coffee, and he says, well, you know what, we heard all the shooting. We were surprised that they got away so clean at the bottom, that no one in the south. He says, but it was very obvious from us just hearing all the gunshots. Everyone's up at church. We know where everyone is. We swept it. We cleared it. He says, you know,
they found G2. G2 were the only, like, Chris and Yannis were doing down low, which kind of caused problems, right?
Which is kind of the only real problem I kind of said, and Siggy did agree with me. If Chris had had a vehicle that he could have pulled up by the left-hand side, because we know what Chris can do as an individual.
Give him the cover.
Exactly. Yeah. If he had something to give him hard cover, but the boy had a rock and nothing, and they had so much leverage to be able to take him down easily. Being able to clean up G2 like that so simply just allowed RAGEREDGE to kind of do whatever they wanted. Was there a slight tangent of luck? Yes, because no one else was there. But hell, this is PUBG. You kind of make your own luck, so to speak. And like you said, you know where all the gunshots are coming from. You know where there at least is several teams that you don't want to be going towards. We called it. Circle comes away. That open road's just a killing field. They denied to give them the points at the end and take themselves out to the blue. That's fair play. Why bother giving it up to another team?
It worked out so well for them. Talking to NIP, and obviously they were saying, looked like you didn't have anything left towards NS. Yeah, we'd thrown everything we had. No nades, no smokes. We kind of had nothing. We were literally 3 people stuck on the ledge. It's great to get the different information, because they were talking about how starved they were for actually grenades, which is unusual for NIP, right? This is the telltale thing, but they weren't able to get the ideal loot that they wanted. I feel like playing path-wise wasn't too bad. It kind of went middle. It was middle, sort of middle northish territory, so it wasn't too bad for them.
RAGEREDGE above Liquid and G2.
Yeah, they've had a cracking start.
That's
so it's big. Two wins and 13 kill game. That's a 23-point game, man.
And at the same time, hold on to this.
Yeah, at the same time, the likes of FaZe only had 3 points from that. Navi only had 2 points, I think. So you know they caught right up on everyone there. 23-point. It is early days, and as you say, you got to keep it up. But it is a very good start to break into that the big boy top 3 that was there.
Well, let's talk about the bottom end of the table. You can see the players are just getting ready, so we've got a bit of time. Well, maybe not a bit of time, a couple of minutes at least to talk. 10th and below.
I can see it. It's good.
Currently 10th and below. GamerLegion, CrowCrowd, 7, Reciprocity, DA, ENCE, Desperados, ENCE. Only just making it out of the double-digit 10-point club with 14. Desperados, Lee, 9 points. In 6 games.
Which means they got 2 in the last game, because they only had 7 in the first day.
That ain't good.
No, I mean, right, okay, so a new team coming in, you're always going to have that nervousness. You know, they've come into a couple of unlucky fights. If you think of the last game, they got caught 2 in rotation, and then the other 2, you know, once you're down 2 players, you're kind of screwed anyway. It's a case of scurry and hide and try and get your positional placements. You can't make the plays then. You're always going to be on the defensive. The playing path looks like it is a bit over to the east, which will give the likes of FaZe a bit of a tricky drop. It should be at a long drop it to Montenuevo and find a vehicle though. So we'll see. The main areas of contesting was over on the coastline in Impala and Puerto Paraíso, Desperados, and it was N47 that was down there, wasn't it? They were kind of rustling for territory. We'll see whether they decide to make an adjustment. Looks like it's going to be... Okay, so M47 going right, fine. We'll go further south, Puerto Paraíso, Desperados, Impala. Kind of bumping into ENCE's territory a little, but I think they're going to be fine with it.
The thing is that ENCE is still having a difficult time. kind of in the same boat where we look towards Desperados. 9 points and 14, respectively, both of them. 6 and 10 of those points come from kills. So Desperados currently have 3 placement points, and ENCE have 4. Like, you could, from one good game, you could do better than their entire 6 games so far.
Yeah.
Which, instantly from that, you can say, not necessarily they're dying early, but they're dying in a very, very low placement.
Well, here's a fine opportunity for Desperados to do something. The circle favors them. They are the only team, obviously, they're well aware that they are the only team in Impala, so they know their backs are clean to begin with. They can find themselves a nice spot towards the central sort of area. La Bandita has a compound that they should be able to reach. It depends whether ENCE decide to go for it first. That is kind of in and around the central area, that strong compound on the ledge, so we'll see whether it works out for them. Meanwhile, further afield, FaZe decided to opt for their south loot strategy, which sometimes they do go towards when they can't get to Braexco. It does alter their rotations. We'll see how that works out for them, because they do have 7 just below them.
The major problem with this circle is the fact that it's gone plumb center over the flight path, so you have teams at home locations for somewhere like, excuse me, not someone, someone like Na'Vi, someone like FaZe Clan. It'll be a bit of a death valley to get to somewhere you want to go. There will be another option of, okay, we'll play edge. Once teams have left and decided to opt to go more mid, we can play edge. But that's going to be really, really jam-packed in the central areas. Especially when you look towards reciprocity. I mean, if they're quick, they have the pick of the entire field. To be fair, they don't even really have to move. minegenerales is plumb center, and there's lots of ways that you can rotate off the back of it. Uphill, downhill. Whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, it's the beauty of the game. There's multiple options you win. And like, if you think of the games we've had so far, right? All the games yesterday. Knights, well, they went center, they got the compound, it worked out, they got the win. FaZe's both wins, in fairness, they kind of had the compound and then made a play off the compound, if you think of the Sanofi, etc. Think of Raise Your Edge. Well, they've played... The first game was pretty much the compound, it went to them. But that second game, they had to make the moves. They had to make the plays. G2 definitely made the plays yesterday. So it's great to see that there is these options. You know, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm not got edge, therefore we've got no chance. We're going to have to yee-haw it in, like we've tended to see DA do. It's totally viable. You're going to have a tougher time of it out on the edge. Speaking of teams in tough times, 7 and DA.
If he hits that. Oh my God. That's a damn good effort.
It forced Buster out, and it has forced him into a position he can get caught out. Crab, meanwhile, will get taken down. That was further right. Mitraleius starting to feel his feet, maybe, in the PEL. Obviously, he had very much the welcome to PEL yesterday, being the first man to die in Phase 3. It's not something anyone wants.
It felt like an easy kill, though. It's a questionable play to, regardless of whatever happens to that vehicle, if it won't move uphill. If the 9,000 IQ player was, I'll leave the vehicle here so they can't hear me rotating through the field, and maybe that's what he was going for, and going for a very silent flank on foot. But he didn't even have a scope at one point. I'm pretty sure he had an iron sight on the back of the AKM. It was just an open field. So
Gustav's been caught out. Rough. This is rotate. You were talking about it. The fact that some of these teams are at home, and well, one of those is reciprocity. They start off in minegenerales, and they've gone for a very greedy widespread, and why not? This is their backyard, which they got pushed before by Team Liquid the other day.
I'm glad you brought it up. That's exactly what I speak to. The problem is it's a very hard area to defend because, like Kumasira, for example, you have this upper deck, lower deck scenario. You have really 2 good areas. 2 teams can contest that quite, not for gear at the start, but certainly late game. You can fit 2 teams in there very comfortably. NIP have turned up on the western side of where Reciprocity are.
Down Graveyard, aren't they?
If they're going to focus on TSM, Nip could creep uphill. You've got that really big drop-off, so it's hard to get there, provided someone's watching the cross. It's good, but...
Again, I mean, this is the danger, right? Because they're holding a greedy split for what is basically the center point. It is going to get pressured. So they've got Raise Your Edge coming up behind. Oh, Rory caught out as well. And Reciprocity will get themselves that one secured. I don't know why they were forcing the pressure. Oh, okay, that's why. Because Lynxy was peppering them from behind. It forced them into Reciprocity. Oh, hello. GamerLegion pulled up. Samty and Ibby are right nearby. Samty, is he going to try and chuck a nade in there and maybe cause the disruption? No, he's going to wait for the support. Okay, so Ibby up high, giving the information. Samty's there. How close is Jempty and Jeems to this one? looks like they are slowly fanning out and getting a position. Iroh is going to go for it, but TSM, they've had a horrible rotate in the first phase here.
I'm fine with SIMSY just laying down here and chilling. There's no need to give away the position. Maybe Abby was also trying to just keep his head down and read the info if they do want to make a push, but finally they do. They step up.
Oh,
that's a really good read peek coming out of Bjorn and just slams SIMSY on the floor.
Went for the reload. Went for the quick reload. Didn't expect a re-peek at all.
Did they know he were there, though? You'd assume by going to that one specific point they had the info that SIMSY were down there because it was a very good, unless it was just two of them. But yeah, the re-peek is fantastic. Reads it well, gets the kill, gets a point. Liquid, they're not having that compound this time.
Razor just slowly creeping around the sides of Reciprocity. You can see Shivs here, and you can see Razor Edge just slowly creeping around the hills. There's not really any cover back there, and yeah, Shiv has spotted the danger and is going to regroup a little bit. Reciprocity, so they're going to lose a bit of ground. They're going to lose that rear compound. Razor Edge will move into CrowCrowd coming in from the north. They were looting up in Campo Militar and Toro Armada way up north, based off obviously the plane path. They normally would be down in El Pozo. Team Liquid, 2 to the car, James alongside, and Jempty looks like he's also going to move. So Team Liquid, despite the fact they were one of the first teams here on the center circle, have been unable to secure themselves a happy compound.
NIP, easy for them. 2-2, and why not?
FaZe are about to get themselves a crate if they find it. They're coming in way late, and there's a crate right in front of them. I'm not too sure if they're going to see it, the problem is because it's not really on a route that you'd take.
NIP have just copped for Navi. It's a bit of a distance, but it will slow them down. It might even trap them between TSM and CrowCrowd should CrowCrowd decide to rotate in or around Hacienda. It's an arm with everything.
Fat crate, that is,
literally everything.
Yeah, that's
good God.
That's a dream come true, that crate. Team Liquid still nomads at the moment. Nowhere to go for them, and they are in a horrible position because this is quite open with everybody already taking prime real estate. They're forced to back it away and find themselves just a couple of ditches to stay safe.
Not great. Looks like it's not going in the hands of any of the players.
6 minutes got, yeah.
Ubah and Fuzz just passing by. Reels onto Vard, and again that comes at a distance from a different angle. They were in a 2-2 split, so the question is, do Na'Vi realise what's just happened and maybe try and make an advancement, move on to them into the graveyard area? If he was inside one of the bell towers of the church or even in the windows, that'll be an easy, safe res. It doesn't look like it. I actually think he's in the long building of the graveyard itself. But he's back on his feet. Circle, a little bit more towards the eastern embankment. Generally, head of all the teams in there. Raise your edge, good position. Reciprocity could go for the reposition and take Minas Generalis, the front side with those double-edged buildings.
Well, SIMSY's getting pushed.
Really
I think
strong compounds.
G2 are going to go for SIMSY here. We're talking about Desperados, how this was a good spot for them. And they have a chance, but Yannis taken low.
Knocked himself over.
Yeah, instantly. And that's going to get finished as well. SIMSY going to get himself one of those important points. Oh, where is he? he will get it. Eventually.
No, wait, no, because he knocked himself.
Iroh hopping into the passenger seat, I believe he was there.
He knocked himself. He don't get the point. He's bled out.
Yeah, I thought he was going to confirm the kill, but he chose not to. He does get Braexco down. There goes Iroh. Michael's with him, but Bestalosh gets the run over. Michael now the last man standing for TSM. Oh, the spray up the hill, but where's he going to go from there? I don't really know. G2 still pressuring SIMSY. You can see NELLOZ and Chris in the picture-in-picture coming in to find themselves a place, trying to get SIMSY down. Is he going to get any support? It doesn't look like it. The rest of the team in the compound that, honestly, I would say they leave SIMSY, but, you know, being the IGL and the main man for the team, they're going to come and support him, and I feel that's a mistake by Desperados. They're leaving the compound that was a central point that we've seen many teams winning from.
N47, Rustanmar in the solo building. They're committing a lot of utility to this, so we'll see how this pays out. If it keeps them in the compound, then it's well worth it, but if all events are allowed to turn up here and maybe even retrade and refrag some bodies, it's problematic. They've committed all their initial lethal grenades. Ivo with the advancement push. Gets shot in the back, and now there's the info exactly where he is, but the turn's there. Instant commitment, round we go. Confirmation of the kill, and Ivo be able to get his teammate back on his feet. The question is, do ENCE actually get over Zealous
Desperados
here?
On the push, look at that. Chris is being cornered and run down. Desperados trying to flank through. Both these teams fighting out as Chris forced to bail out and go back around the side. Did they realize he just vaulted out? TomiL is there. TomiL should see him in a second. Yeah, they definitely know his position now. Calvin's going to...
It's a really nasty
It's a double peek. Look at Calvin and Ultra. Position to double peek against the one. The second comes in and finishes him off. So as it is that they managed to get them both down.
Lovely execution. It's a bit of a bottleneck. We've seen players time and time again just get
stopped too early or something like that. And
squished up against it. But to run straight forward and let his teammate follow up behind him, really good execution.
A classic Counter-Strike blocking
it's
mentality.
Only, you know what? It's small little things like that.
What is happening down on the west? FaZe and Knights very much next to one another. Still, this battle is going on between ENCE and N47. Here is FaZe and the Knights clashing one another. Fuzz is down now, as Reels catches him on rotation. Kind of both teams were rotating into one another on the edge, actually. It's a little messy over there.
They're in a 1-1-1 scenario as FaZe. mxey's left to deal with 3 of them. Aitzy and ubah will hold elevated angles, but certainly...
I gotta say, that compound is still open that Desperado's left, and they're going to take 2 back over to it. So they're going back to a 2-2. This is a great play by Desperados. Gives them a lot of real estate right central.
Wrecker in a 4-man split. They've taken a building each. You can do it within Minas Generalis. It can be dangerous if anyone just dives into one of those buildings because you're going to get met with a full 4-man stack. They're very big buildings, but they're worth their weight in gold for the simple fact that they have a level 2 walkway going around them with windows.
So TomiL and Calvin Klein, you just saw them on the map, dead center. They just moved back to that compound, and I was saying that we've seen teams win from there. We've seen this circle finish in and around that area. It could pull to Minas Generalis, as you say, with Reciprocity and Na'Vi now sort of trading that. We've seen many finishes in and around here. Certainly in the final week, we had a big game here. Actually, it was at GLL, right? With the massive game that we had here between Atletico and FaZe.
See how many teams actually get sucked into La Bendita. Michael's down there hiding just for the simple fact he's playing for survivability, but the problem is that La Bendita can be really, really good in the form of you can use that crater edge to your advantage. There's places to drop down.
It's moving.
But the problem is you are open behind and you are rather exposed.
Page is creeping. Oh, he had a nade in his hand. Caught miikaz out. Had a smoke in his hand, has a little peek, gets an information that there's another one. He may go for the flush here. He will. And ENCE are getting slowly surrounded and choked out here. Now that they're in a position, this is great play from Page. He's doing wonders, finds himself another angle on TRYFFELI. It forces Ival to give him the cover. What great play from M47. They're covering all the angles, giving everybody the support they need, and SKUIJKE forced to get out the back.
I think this is going to be 16th place for them, unfortunately. Be looting his fallen comrade's body. All the smokes are down in the world. But honestly, what can you really do when there's a full 4-man stack inside your compound? Good play from N47. I spoke earlier on about the utility. They've been committed to trying to keep them out. It's paid off. Yes, you'll have lost your lethal grenade usage. But by doing so, you picked up, what, 4 points? You've got a compound. And N47 will be able to loot the bodies of these finished players once all said is done.
There's no doubt about it. These new teams, they know how to fight the close quarters battle. SKUIJKE is going to run and get shot in the back. They absolutely know how to fight. We saw it with obviously Vasco and Evo on yesterday on the Sanok map. They're absolutely great fighters. All they need to learn, and a lot of these teams, you know, like Desperados, like yeah, they have low points, but they did just wipe out. Who did they just wipe out in there? Got to be flushed out there. It was G2 that pushed them in the combat. They just flushed out G2. There are the teams that know how to fight, but what they need to do is figure out how to rotate and reach the final phases to keep so many alive. And that's really what's costing them. That's the experience they're going to learn, obviously coming into this new setup of teams while they've been used to playing in PEL contenders, etc.
I mean, to be fair, you don't really get that until about week 2, 3 do you fully understand, and then you can actually have some off time.
And you just got to hope you're not too far behind that you can catch up then.
Week 1 is basically homework week.
It's
like
learning
between now and this one, going home, sitting down and just watching everything, how teams like they can sit and watch PEL as much as humanly possible, but until you're actually in the same server as them, it don't mean jack. Circle. So we are split between Bendita and Generalis. Yeah. DA can take the backside. That will be, because the blue will be up against them, they will be safe. Same goes for Liquid. All these other teams, though, N47, difficult task.
Look at the south. I mean, how congested is it there?
Yeah, and to get up, again, you are kind of going to be exposed, but I don't think Michael will do too much. He'll hide down, so they can use that crater edge to kill them all.
There's nothing on this big western area, really, that anyone can go into. There's a small little warehouse there. Raise Your Edge are going for it. We're seeing Drayden down. Raise Your Edge have pushed into the backside of Minas Generales, and you were talking about it last circle, last phase, whatever you want to prefer to call it, as Aitzy just gets battered. He's surely not going to survive that. Yeah, okay, we'll get taken down. But we talked about it. The fact is, Minas Generales, it is big. It's very hard to defend from multiple angles. FaZe, they've kind of gone for this send-it mentality, and it's not really worked out, if I'm totally honest. And FaZe will go down in 15th place. And it's the Knights, ironically, that take them down, as they are both looking to try and find a better way in.
So Michael can't do too much still in
GamerLegion's turn,
which will allow these teams to move up onto the crater's rim, which is exactly what GamerLegion is doing. That's a really good play for them, and the emergency backup is just sit inside a building and camp it down. For DA, though, DA could play this rim really, really well and just use and bounce between. Team Liquid's getting pushed, by the way. Western side of the map, just in NIP pull up on the members, and they've split. Liquid have gone for a split, and I think this hasn't paid off.
No, it's because Ibi was trying to get back and get the revive on Jeems. It's left empty on his own with the barrel, gets around the side. MBS is there, doesn't realize he's going to get shot in the side of his head. No, he isn't, because MBS was looking at the other Team Liquid guys. Oh, that is absolute tragedy.
Gets him just before.
Needed a Frost Nova there.
Stop it. Leave that to the desk. They're the nerds, not us.
All right, Mr. Auto Shot, keep it down.
We're the adults, Lee. Come on.
Keep it down over there. Kind of. Meanwhile, this battle down the south is getting very congested. Is the area there's two scenarios where this will likely finish. One is Minas Generales right here. We've seen it finish in and around this road area a bunch of times. The other is basically the compound that Desperados took, or basically the crater edge, where we've seen it finish in a number of times, which is still the central point, which is why I was so worried when Desperados went for that fight with G2. It's like, do not leave that compound. We've seen it finish at that exact spot. A big chance for Desperados to pick up some, basically double, triple their points here.
I actually hope we get a hard shift to the north. Just pull out La Bendita, because it'll be crazy.
Well, yeah.
And then you've got NELLOZ on his own. Might just be able to mop up a few. Why not? CrowCrowd, I think, have to do some work here. Because they're dead on the next rotate. I'm already seeing NOOKIE winning the car moving, but the problem is he didn't realize there is 3 teams up there. And I'm seeing it on the map. They just turn around like ants. They've taken a ditch or a dip just by the roadside, which gives them a bit more of a stronger foothold in this next circle. Everyone now is thinking about what happens next. Where do we go? Let's find a placement early. Down south, it's just a complete slaughter. It's a mess. And the circle, it hard shifts. It does pull away from them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams potentially could die here, all off the back of that one deadly circle.
This
and because everyone's
deadly.
Playing safe in Bendita. You're just playing not to die.
Exactly. You're playing for position at that point, because but it was also down to the circle. The fact is that western territory area of just sort of southwest of Minas Generales, there's not really anything there. It's a massive open field, so it forced everyone to try and look for the cover and the hope of the quarries and not the quarries, the cliffs there. Team Liquid down in 14th.
I'm really sorry to break it off here, Lee. I'm intrigued now. We know what Na'Vi does well individually from a skill level. They have to work for their money. They have to move forward and take out Wreck and get in a good position. They have the initial knock. I've just seen it coming on the kill feed. Monkey's down and bleeding out. And these are the taller buildings. They're not the big priority one that Reciprocity currently holds. But they have to earn their keep here to get into this next circle. They have to survive not only Reciprocity, but Raise Your Edge as well.
Wanted's making the play. He's trying to get around. Drayden actually called down. This is the problem. Everybody that's peeking over that crater that's forced by the blue to go is in no man's land. N47. So DA are benefiting from Knights. Now they've got to turn around and fight 4 members of N47. You can see they've got them up on the hillside. Reels, meanwhile, in the blue is causing problems for Mert there, and a beautiful death. Meanwhile, everybody also needs to push in. NIP have done a great job. They've gone the other side of the crater because obviously they had it available to them. They have to fight GamerLegion down low. If they win out of that fight, they're going to have the entirety of the crater to take on all of these teams.
7 could be a problem for N47, ironically.
Yeah.
Once they actually get into
well,
that
they're in that little shack, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll be able to survive, but it depends on this fight. Reels has been a nuisance, and he can't really do too much. I'd expect him to go down here. Mitraleius finally seals the deal on that, but it comes down to N47. This is the next battle. Now, do not forget, Ibel has a Groza. He has level 3 gear, but he doesn't have much health after that engagement.
DA are doing a good job at trying to work their way out of there, but it was inevitable that M47 would take them down. They had the position. They had a 4-man lineup. You can see those shots coming in now. That's actually CrowCrowd who've gone back to their position. Oh, Na'Vi catching an IP off. That's a long ranger. Into the crater, that one. Managed to do the job. So N47 picking up quite a few kills, but they are getting littered now from CrowCrowd. Meanwhile, Desperado still with the circle as it is in a great position. As I say, if it goes north, the boys in Minas Generalis there are going to pay dividends. You know, Reciprocity's backyard, effectively. They're about to get pushed. Na'Vi are going for it just before the circle shifts. They want to make the fight. They got the knock on Scoom. They're going to go in.
They're taking these players down 1 for 1. Oh, okay, third party. This makes it a little bit more easier. Lynxy from a distance. Remember, they're playing mirror image here. These two buildings both have an eye line on one another to that top floor. So with Udyr going down, Na'Vi taking out 2. This just made their life a hell of a lot easier. I'm surprised they've been allowed to do this, to be fair. That, unfortunately, is Rex getting a bit slow and just kind of sitting back on the laurels. Yes, you are playing defense.
Razor Edge have pushed as well. Razor Edge have come around the other side as well, so they're getting completely crushed into the warehouse. Look, you can see Menox and Co. all coming around. Little nade comes out. That's going to be the death of NIP as Muruku gets finished off by Michael. Instantly finished off then by Page. That puts N47 on a bit of a killing spree, so starting to do pretty well for themselves. They have now the crater to themselves. The circle does shrink. It keeps Desperado's compound. Also, everything in Minas Generalis. Now, at this stage, I feel it will pull north to Minas Generalis. Correct me if I'm wrong in the next circle, but that's generally how I read this. It gives CrowCrowd the opportunity, because Razor Edge are so focused on this play with Reciprocity, it's allowed CrowCrowd. If with the cameras to pan just slightly to the right, CrowCrowd have just pulled up on the ledge directly beneath them, and they're going to creep up on that ledge. You can see, here we go, just slightly over the side. Oh, 7 have had to make the move, yeah, and well, they've got nowhere to go, have they? Sadly.
Shooting field, fish in a barrel and all that lot. The fact that CrowCrowd's also opening up onto this gives the much-needed information to Razor Edge where their location is. So if they've got a couple of utility frags, they'll be able to load them over and potentially...
That's a good play.
Get a kill or 2. It is. You're pointing at Na'Vi on screen, and they are being preemptive of what can happen next. And for those teams that are actually going to roll out of what's left from the La Bandita boys, it's basically an open four-way, so you just have to hit it, you have to go forward. I think Page might go for the shack and probably don't realize that NELLOZ inside.
Yep, it's going to come straight in. That gives the information to Na'Vi, who are going to see that. So you can see Senya and PokeMoldoy. So what they've done, they come across the road here. They're using the vehicles as cover there. You can see the burnt-out wreckage, and to look down and basically give them the road. And they've got the entirety of the road now. So if they need to turn left, they look at the angle that Senya has there. All the information he needs. Now, it does leave him exposed to this, but they can just scurry around the other side. But Senya standing in the open road, that's the confidence they have in how they can get out of these situations. NELLOZ on 2 hit points there.
2 HP in a dream. It's all you need, mate. The problem is, let's say the problem, the better thing is that one player's actually turned up earlier on, one of the M47 players, so the body box over there should be able to get a reload. Ibel does have level 3 gear, so he might be able to survive a couple of bullets. Now you can see the bullets just pinging away. Multitude of players see him. G2 and Na'Vi open up. It goes the way of Na'Vi. Not that he needed enough points as it was.
That's a shift.
Desperados are still in here.
Yeah, this is great for Desperados now, because it's pulled everyone in this. They have to fight now. They have to move.
So let's kind of talk about this on the polar opposite end here. Everyone in the north, basically, for me, has to fight.
Yeah.
A team may come down low, but then they're going to be exposed to where Desperados are. Desperados, in the background, are taking full advantage of this. They're putting TomiL up front a little bit more center to kind of watch anybody that wants to come closer. The only way that Desperados don't really see people is that main road that goes through, because it's up on a plateau.
It's a big ridge line, isn't it? Yeah, and that's why, like you say, TomiL's moved to the shack. So the only other compound that was there was a tiny little shack that someone's probably going to crash. Well, TomiL is there. That nade from Shiv catches him. The second one's going to finish it. He sees PokeMoldoy in the distance. Confirms the kill there. PokeMoldoy lucky to get away with his life there. Mini 14 may well do a bit better work. Has to look to the side, realize that razorEdge is still in and around the backside. Here goes Na'Vi. They know they're going to make the play. They catch out G2. Still doesn't give them the territory they need. They have to keep on moving from this position, but what they're trying to do is get to the other edge side of that compound, because they know there's a team in that compound, so they can't open face it.
And the problem is that any team on the opposing side that wants to do this cannot do it because TomiL has repositioned central. They can't come down off that plateau. You have to fight. You have to be the last team standing going into this final circle. There might be a room for a snake or two behind a bush.
This is where Desperados gain all the points they can. You just saw Senua engaged in a fight there with Reciprocity. Reciprocity and razorEdge about to fight, by the way, as they come around the corner. Lynx is going to be the man up front. Sees Shiv in the crate. Can't manage to get the head. Finally hits the headshot, but it's a little too late. The rest of the team will jump and pressure him, but they've lost 2 in the process, and the circle's on their backs. I don't think they're going to be able to get the revives off here. It's a little too late.
It'd have to be mega quick. That's going to hurt them. If it touches them, it will kill them. I don't know how many you can get off the back of this. You play for survivability, because as soon as you come out of here, CrowCrowd are all aligned and set up. The only thing that could happen is Desperados annoy CrowCrowd and draw their attention completely away from them, but I don't think they will. They'll commit to the points. That's 4 easy points they could pick up here.
Timmy's got razorEdge dead to rights. Oh, this is a turkey shoot, isn't it? So razorEdge, sadly, they've managed to get the revives off, but they got nowhere else to go. It's the downside when it pulls away from Minas Generalis, this big flat road top before it dips down. And the thing is, even if they got past CrowCrowd, then they go into open territory facing Desperados. Desperados are ready to see this. It's going to be a 2-team battle towards the end. 4v4. It's what we love to see. Lynx is the only man that's trying to scurry away in the smoke, but as soon as he comes over this ridge line, actually he's almost got himself in. SIMSY, though, is on him.
The thing is, the more time that lynxey keeps CrowCrowd's attention drawn this way, the harder it's getting for CrowCrowd to make an entry point.
So, okay, let's look at the positions. Look at Desperados. They've spread out. Now, they could get caught out. That's the danger.
Beware of Calvin.
Yeah.
He's in a building purposely to have an
eye
eye
on the building. He's on the roof. He is ready and waiting. So this is actually really risky. Gives his position, and now look at this little crate. Oh, it was beautiful. So well played. SIMSY comes up, gets a little belt from the side, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. The split is worked. He sees NOOKIE in the open, catches the headshot, but will get taken down. Now, there's no support for him. Ultra and TomiL, they are close, but they can't get up the hill quick enough.
SIMSY's actually crawling towards them to feed the info through. Calvin now forced to reposition and come down from his little rooftop. Picks one up at this. Actually, no, just takes out his teammate. That's fair play. And now we're into a 3-on-3 engagement. They do have to come down from that hillside. The smokes will only give so much cover. You have to have a belting shot here. Misa's actually got a crate to work with. He'll get the gear, which is good. It gives him time to play with. And what weapons he got off the back of that?
So TomiL's going to use eastern edge of the circle to try and flank around.
That's huge.
NOOKIE, yeah, they've still got this ridge line. Obviously, the center point is down the hill. So Desperados are almost forcing the play here. I don't feel they need to.
Calvin has to move, though, because of the blue. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That will force him into this engagement and force him into the open. There's more time for these boys, like what we're seeing now in this scenario, for CrowCrowd to play with.
We're trying to pop the head of Misa. Has to force himself out. Almost baited Misa into the shots there. Misa trying to find something in the smoke. It's Ultrastar and Calvin working it. He's going to choose. He's running for it. He's running for it.
That's
going to try and get down the hill, but Ultrastar stops him dead in his tracks. Timmy knows he has to try and get the center point. Sees Calvin Klein. Should be able to land the shots. He absolutely does. Has to look to the flank, to the left-hand side. Gets a glimpse of Ultrastar's head, but it's a little too late as Ultrastar pops up. Sees NOOKIE down low. Gets the flush on Timmy, and it's now a 2-on-1. But NOOKIE, he's in the open, and Desperados have the rock.
No nades, no smokes, no mollies. Clutch scenario has to go down. Pop flashes go up and over. They don't realize he's gone for the full reposition, though. This could play out really well, unless Calvin was the sniffer dog, while he's just crawling around on the floor, send him out to try and find some information. Now they get a glimpse of the head. The full reposition was not there, and he's quite literally between a rock and a hard place. 3 versus 1 scenario if they get Calvin back on the feet.
Ultra up high, TomiL down low. NOOKIE in between. He's deciding to fight it and go for it. He knows he's got to try and get a knock early on. Calvin back on his feet now. TomiL's managed to get him up there. Ultra down. TomiL look at the charge. He knows he's going for the reload. They're going to go for the double push. Looks around. Gets one. Oh, couldn't get the second. But my word, NOOKIE almost did it for CrowCrowd. but it is the first win. And honestly, I think they've definitely doubled, maybe tripled their points overall. They had 9 points coming into this game. They've just picked up, I think, 19 from that one game. Desperados coming out of contenders in style. And it's going to be great to see the likes of TomiL and co on the couch.
Look, if there's ever a point where you think, you know what, I'm in a 3 versus 1, I'm just going to give it up to the blue. I'm not bothered about giving another point away. Just take a look at what almost happened there.
The big man on the right.
The second kill was a frigging hip fire.
Yeah.
It was a frigging hip fire. Like, if you are individually skilled, 3v1s, 4v1s, yes, they're hard. Yes, they're rare. But it happens. It's happened before and it can happen again. Take your chances, don't you? I understand it's a play that you have to do when you look towards the points. It's a decision mathematically you make in your mind to give yourself up to the blue. I respect it, I understand it. But he almost just got himself 3 points from the kills and then more points from the win. It was so close. What a banging effort. But as you mentioned, the story on this one is Desperado's first win. 0 to hero, quite literally. This will send them flying up the charts.
It's great to see for a team like Desperados, for SIMSY, for Ultrastar especially. You know, these guys that were playing in Penta back in IEM Oakland with Frost, by the way. They were playing with Frost. Yeah, he did play properly. We got to give him that. But yeah, this was a team that didn't make it when they were in Minsk, obviously through the gauntlet. They've grinded out in contenders. They managed to make their way back in here, and now they get themselves their first win on day 2 of week 1. That is the time. You know, we were talking about yesterday. They were talking about, yeah, we were a bit nervous. We had to shake it off. Well, they've just done it. Yes, they got the compound. They actually fought G2 for the other compound, which I was a little worried they were going to leave that one exposed, but they got lucky. Nobody else took the position. Nobody was watching them move away from it. They went back to that compound, and it absolutely paid off in the end.
I think Calvinson at the back was a really good player.
Yeah.
With a lot of information. It can be night and day scenario, because if he goes down, they're then left kind of outgunned, outmanned, and more importantly,
spread out with no
one with
support.
vision. There's no vision to watch, so it's a risky play, but I think they played it well, especially to put TomiL more front and center to be able to stop the oncoming push. But yeah, it's a good win, a good job.
Well, we had a quiet interview to start things off, but I think this one might be a bit more vocal.
A tier 1 interview.
Parla is with Desperados.